And here we are for my Hot Toys Iron Man Mark 1 speed review. The box is pretty cool. It has kind of like a foil gloss to the outside with Mark 1 on the front and on the back and like a fighting pose, and on the side they have Tony Stark building the Mark 1, which is pretty cool. Here's a straight up and down shot of the figure. It has a great weight to it. I think it's the first Mark 1 that they made that has actual die-cast pieces to it. The other ones were plastic. And you can see every weld. You can see all the patina and the metal and all the scratches, all the burn marks. The head sculpt is fantastic underneath the front of the mask, and there's just wires coming out everywhere. It's just a fun figure. It comes with a very limited amount of accessories, which I thought was a little bit of a bummer. And, you know, racking my brain, I thought of a couple more that you possibly could have thrown in there. But it has the minimal amount to make the figure really awesome, and you could do some really fun poses with this figure. And if you're an Iron Man fan, it's a must-have in my opinion, especially if you like Iron Man 1.
What's in the box?
In the box you get two fairly identical flames. You can put them on either arm, they fit on the same way. You get two closed fists, one with an armored plate on it, and two open hands, one with an armored plate on it. And then you get a Iron Man Mark 1 mask that opens up, but you cannot do anything with this mask. This mask is purely for display purposes. I could have done without it, to be honest with you. The stand is pretty cool. It has a Stark Industries missile pod wedged into it, some rocks, some wood, an ammo box, and it gives that sort of feeling of the Iron Man Mark 1 environment where it was created. The other stand you get is a metal stand, and it's just purely for display purposes. Metal grate gives the feeling of Iron Man, kind of a metal building facility where it's created. And then you can stick the other stand on top of it, and it gives it a much larger presence, because this thing is huge. Very cool though, and this is the way I display it. I am a huge fan of the detail in this figure. The wires connected to every piece, every valve. It looks like it was an exact replica of the actual Iron Man suit from the movie, and I'm sure it is because they probably used source images, but it's incredible. I'm actually very cautious about picking it up and moving it around because of these wires, but once you get set up the way you like it, the detail is incredible and it has a great presence. So this isn't the best Tony Stark head sculpt, but for what it is, I think it's the best one that they've done. For the Mark 1 figures, for that whole line, I think there's been 3 of them, I could be wrong, but this is the best one out of all of them. So on the front we get this light up arc reactor, which looks great when you have it displayed, and then there's a little red LED that's on the arm near the flamethrower. But that's not the coolest part. On the back we have a spinning fan when you turn the figure on, and the spinning fan is powered by this USB-C cable, which a lot of figures haven't had. Usually you have to deal with batteries, and I'm hoping eventually they'll get to a place where they're using rechargeable figures instead of cords and batteries.
Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps!
Now I know I'm kind of contradicting myself because earlier I said it feels heavy and it's made out of metal, but with all the wires that are constantly running through it, and it's not to a fault of Hot Toys, sometimes I get a little nervous moving the legs around and messing with the articulation because the wires feel like they could pop out. So if you're a fan of Iron Man and you're a fan of the Iron Man Mark 1 OG suit, I highly suggest taking a look at this one, especially if you're going to build a Hot Toys Iron Man collection. This is one of the staple suits in the Iron Man collection, in my opinion. With that said, there are previous iterations of this figure that were made that were plastic builds, and there was more detail on the suit. The welding, the burn marks, the patina apparently was better. I haven't seen it in person. But for me and for my money, I want the Mark 1 to be made out of metal. I want it to be heavy. I want it to have that bulkiness. It should have that presence on the shelf. Not that the previous one didn't, but if you go to pick it up and someone looks at it, you want it to have that weight. With that said, there is room for improvement. I think that the head sculpt could be a little bit nicer on the skin, and it could look like it's not welded in the helmet, no pun intended. And I would love to have rechargeable batteries. And what did I score it? 8 boxes of scraps out of 10.
Yeah.